All right, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. The second episode of Secret Invasion just came out yesterday and we're gonna review it, we're gonna discuss, we're gonna talk about it. If you saw my video that came out of the history of Nick Fury, you know that I have a lot more information on him as a character and I value him more as a character now as well. So this episode was a lot more fun for me to watch. I was really entertained. I will say though, it felt so short. Like, I know the episodes are short in general, but this just felt really short, like too short. That's all I'll say about that one. I really liked this episode and obviously it had a crazy ending. If you have not seen Secret Invasion and you're dying to watch it and you don't want to be spoiled, I probably wouldn't watch this video. I'm probably going to be spoiling a lot, so keep that in mind. Viewers' discretion is advised. But if you've already seen it and you're here, thank you so much for watching. Let's go ahead and get into it. I just kind of wanted to recap this episode a little bit because I don't want all these videos to seem like redundant. I'm going to do a little recap of what happened in this episode, and then we're going to have some of my thoughts, some of my theories, because I have a couple of little things that I might think are going on. So here we go. So it starts off as a recap of Nick Fury and Captain Marvel meeting Talos and Talos' family in 1995, and then it does another time jump into 1997 where there's this lady named Vera. She introduces Gravik, who is the main antagonist, but Gravik is a little kid. His parents were killed by the Kree and he piloted all the way to Earth all by himself. Then Talos gives motivational speech saying that all the Skrulls can trust Nick Fury and that humans and Skrulls can help each other. Everybody should put on a new face and like become like their human counterpart in order to help keep Earth safe, and in tandem Nick Fury and Carol Danvers will find them a new home. So then all the Skrulls shapeshift, basically like, you keep your word and I'll keep mine. You help Earth, we'll help you. And then it flashes back to the present day bombing in Moscow. Nick Fury's quickly rushed out by a Skrull. Hill lays there dead. We know from the first episode that she got shot, and I was just like in kind of disbelief. I was like, there's no way that they actually like killed her, especially not in the first episode. So she's like laying there dead, and I know that like if she was actually a Skrull, she would have turned back into a Skrull, but we didn't see that. Nick Fury and Talos are on a train. Nick Fury goes into this story about him and his mother on a train in Alabama, which Nick Fury is actually from New York in the comics, if you didn't know that, but I guess in this one he's from Alabama. He played this game called Tell Me Something I Don't Know, and he says, tell me something I don't know about the destruction of Skrulls, and he's like, you know everything about them. They were overpowered by the Kree, and those who survived fled. Then he says, okay, tell me something I don't know about where those Skrulls fled. Talos was like, every single Skrull, the millions of Skrulls, all came to Earth. Every single one of them. Talos was like, well, I sent the beacon out because you said you were gonna help us, and then you were gone and you haven't helped us. So what was I supposed to do? And Nick Fury's like, not send millions of them here. Are you kidding? And they have like this whole fight, and Talos kind of has like a hopeful moment. He's like, humans and Skrulls can coexist with one another. You don't have to be upset. Like, we can make this work. Nick Fury says humans can't coexist with themselves, let alone another species. Like, that's not going to work out. And he realizes like how out of hand all of this has kind of gotten to. He is like kind of distraught, and he's like, bye Talos, get off. Your train station is this train station. Get out. Then it goes to Agent Hill's funeral. Well, not really her funeral, but just like them delivering her casket to her mother. Listen, she's probably dead, but on the slight chance that she's not, I told you so. But we never saw her body in the casket, so she could be not in there. She probably is dead, but whatever. Hill's mom is obviously mad, and she's like, it's your fault that she's dead, Fury. Don't let her death be for nothing. That scene was kind of like meh. Bruh. Gaia and Gravik, they go to this council meeting. That is where we as the viewer find out that the Secretary of State, the head of NATO, the Prime Minister, like super higher up people of all of these major governments, they are all Skrulls. Like the really, really, really powerful ones. They're saying like Gravik is going a little haywire and like this is bad and stuff, and like you killed like 2,000 people, like this is so bad that Gravik needs to have punishment. Gravik says that Fury abandoned him and all of the Skrulls, and that he will take Earth and they will all go to war against the humans. Then there was like the question, what happens if the Avengers return? And like he's like, that's not what's gonna happen. But if you know anything about the comics, the Avengers do fight the Skrulls in Secret Invasion, so we might see a little bit of an Avengers team up a little bit. The Prime Minister nominates Gravik for a single Skrull general, and everybody's like, what? You've been on his side the entire time. And this other guy's like, I am like the leader of NATO. Like, what? No.
Editing me here, I also forgot to add that they end up nominating him for the general anyway, other than this one lady. She's like, nah, I can't do that. I can't support you. But he becomes the general, so wild.
We also get Rhodes kind of saving Nick Fury's butt a little bit. He goes to this UN conference meeting and they're trying to pin the bombing on Nick Fury. And he's like, well, it wasn't him. This is all alleged. And he kind of like saves him for a little bit until he says that he wants to meet with Nick Fury. He's got some business with him. Nick Fury and Rhodes sit down at like a restaurant and he's like, the Russians are pinning it on you and this is like setting the stage for... And this is like setting the stage for World War III. Nick Fury is like, how do you trust your security? They could be somebody else. They could be little green people. Rhodes is like, yeah, I know that they could be Skrulls, but I trust them. And he's known about the Skrulls for 15 years. And that there's like a potential invasion, but like it's probably never gonna happen. And then Nick Fury's like, no, it is happening. And then Rhodes is like, it's not happening. And he's like, yeah, it is. And then he's like, look, we owe each other because we are powerful black men. Rhodes is like, no, I came here to fire you. You are no longer a part of our organization. You are no longer working for the government. You have nothing. Nick Fury says the line, even when I'm out, I'm in. Like, basically, you can't fire me. And if you know anything about the MCU's Nick Fury, he doesn't have, like, any real powers, but his power is, like, the connections that he has. And he's the most powerful man in the world because of everybody that he knows and everybody that helps him out and stuff like that. And now that he's been fired, he pretty much doesn't have those connections anymore. And he's kind of burned this bridge a little bit with Talos, and then he's now kicked out with the Americans and with like what S.H.I.E.L.D. was, basically. And then we get that British lady. Secret Invasion. Oh. Agent Sonya. She goes into like this meat locker thing to torture one of the Skrulls. She like cuts off his finger to like verify that he was a Skrull. She's kind of like asking him like, what's going on? Who are all these people? We kind of get this like weird scientist thing with like this big like orb light thing. And the British lady is like, I'm gonna cook your blood. And she like puts this like freaking thing in his blood and he like starts burning from the inside, which was really like kind of disturbing. But she's like, where's Gravik? And he's like, I don't know. And then she's like, what do you know? And he's like, they're building a machine to make Skrulls stronger, and they're already strong, like they can like break chains and stuff like that. This is to make them even stronger. So basically the match between the humans and the Skrulls is going to be bad. No match, basically. And then she's like, well, who's your scientist? And he's like, they're like this couple named Dalton. We're gonna know who the Daltons are later on. Gravik gets the scroll back, the British lady gets away, and then they end up killing him for giving too much information. It's like the end of the episode when Nicholas Joseph Fury goes into a safe house and he seems really comfortable there. And we see a Skrull woman cooking, which is probably Vera. And he's like, hey. And she's like, are you forgetting something? And he goes back to this like counter thing and he gets a ring and he puts a ring on his finger. And then they like start making out. So that means that Nick Fury is married to a Skrull woman. Holy crap. I was not seeing that coming. And I was like, what? He's married. He's been married all of this time. There's so many things that we don't know about Nick Fury, and him being married is obviously one of them. That was wild. I just kind of want to go over like my thoughts real quick because holy cow, that was an insane episode. If you saw the first episode, you know that I said that the Marvel TV shows kind of lack that like TV show feel. They kind of just feel like a big movie broken up into 6 different episodes. But with episode 1, it felt like a TV show. Like it was like a good episode. It like left you on a cliffhanger and you were entertained and you're excited for next week. Then this episode came out. I am even more excited because they ended with Agent Hill like dying and you're like, what? What's gonna happen to her? And then they just kind of don't show much after that in episode 2. My interest was kind of like going, and then I found out that he was married, and then it spiked my interest again, and I'm super excited for next week because I want to know who his wife is, when they got married, his whole love story, if he has a Nick Fury Jr., because he does in the comics. That would just be insane. But also, I have like a couple of theories. I know I said I didn't want to like theorize because that ruined WandaVision, but these are just kind of my thoughts. Thought 1, I do not think that Rhodey was actually Rhodey. I think that he was a Skrull and he was like, you're fired, so that Nick Fury thinks that he's fired, but he's actually not fired. That's one theory. If it's not true, whatever. It's just like, it could happen. 2, Gravik was raised by Vera and Nick Fury, because if Vera is his wife, is his woman, and she was like, oh, this is Gravik, he's like a good man, he could be like our leader one day, they could have raised him together. And so then when Nick Fury left, he's like,
You abandoned me, Dad. Meh.
that could be another theory. Hill is not dead. That's another one of my theories. And I think that's kind of like it, bro. This was a wild change of events, and I didn't see this coming. Oh, also, I thought it was really wild to see how their secret invasion is kind of happening. Like, they are literally living among us. Among us. Finding out that there's that many Skrulls on Earth. That was wild. And I was like, oh crap, this is going to be a crazy show. How are they going to fit all of it into 6 episodes? Especially if that episode felt so fast. It felt too quick. I was like, I need more. That was too fast of an episode. I just don't know how they're supposed to fit all of it in here. But then finding out also that the Skrulls are like the huge leaders and like Secretary of NATO and the Prime Minister and stuff, like, wow, they can literally just take over with just their political power alone, and that is what they are doing. Let the humans kill themselves so that we can have the planet. But with Nick Fury, that is not gonna happen. So I'm just really excited. I hope that you guys are also excited. If you have any other theories, put them down below. I'd love to read them, and I'd love to like figure out what everybody's thinking about the show. If you liked this video, give it a like and maybe subscribe if you want. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers if you didn't know, and I'm at 741, which is actually insane because I have been at 733 and then I go up to like 734 and then I go down to 733 and then I go up to like 736 and I finally broke into the 740 range. So I'm just very happy. So thank you everybody. So I wanted to do an Indiana Jones review, but then I saw that it was really, really bad and I just could not bring myself to buy a movie ticket and spend my money on a movie ticket that the movie was really bad, because it's just, I already spent my money and wasted my money on Transformers. I just didn't want to do it with Indiana Jones. But this is completely unprovoked. I will give a little bit of a shout out. If you want to see a good review, I would go to Pa Jacques. I'm so sorry. I'm probably mispronouncing that, but I would go to Pa Jacques' Perspective. He did a really good review and it was really funny and entertaining, so I would look at that one. Yeah, go ahead, like and subscribe. I will see you next week. Thank you. Bye.